Attention, Rockland County residents.
Political propaganda video circulating before Tuesday's election.
My son is alive because of me.
Plus, an emotional thank you to a group of rescuers who saved a young man's life in Orange County.
Young girls' bodies are being ruined by an emotionally and physically abusive system.
And a former running sensation and Westchester native speaking out about alleged abuse at Nike. Nightside starts now. And that is where we begin. Thanks for watching News 12 Nightside. I'm Rachel Spots.
And I'm Scott McGee. Now, this Bronxville phenom, who was the youngest track and field athlete to make a world championship team, now coming forward saying she was forced to take pills to stay in shape.
News 12's Kayla Ayers has more on Mary Cain's rise and fall and why a former competitor of hers says it's so important she's speaking out.
Mary Cain, there are women here almost twice her age.
Bronxville native Mary Cain sharing her rise and dramatic fall in a New York Times opinion video today. In it, she blasts Nike's Oregon Project and the program's longtime coach, Alberto Salazar.
I joined Nike because I wanted to be the best female athlete ever. Instead, I was emotionally and physically abused by a system designed by Alberto and endorsed by Nike.
Cain says Salazar set an arbitrary goal weight for her and wanted her to take diuretics and birth control pills. She says her period stopped for 3 years and she broke 5 bones. And when Cain didn't make weight, she told the New York Times that Salazar would publicly shame her.
I felt so scared, I felt so alone, and I felt so trapped. And I started to have suicidal thoughts.
Cain, now 23 years old, quit the Oregon Project and says she's coming forward now to address a systemic crisis in women's sports. Megan Young from Nanuet, now a graduate student in Boston, ran against Cain while in high school.
She was definitely intimidating, but the sportsmanship was unmatched.
Young says Cain's story is hard to hear, but that she's opening up a conversation on women's mental and physical health in sports.
Pressures to maintain a certain weight, look a certain way, to be the best athlete that they can be. Females are faced with those pressures every day. I think what Mary did was incredibly important, opening up the conversation, and I really hope it brings some changes.
Salazar received a doping ban in September, and just last month, Nike announced that it was closing the Elite Oregon Project. Cain, meanwhile, told the New York Times that she has hope for the sport and that she plans to be running for years to come. Kayla Ayers, News 12.
And some other well-known athletes are tweeting their support to Cain. Shalane Flanagan, an American long-distance runner, reached out on Twitter saying, "I'm so sorry, Mary Cain, that I never reached out to you when I saw you struggling. I made excuses to myself as to why I should mind my own business. We let you down. I will never turn my head again."
Now, joining us is News 12's Pete Ruff. He covered Mary Cain extensively throughout her career. Pete, she was a very special athlete, one of the best long-distance runners ever to come out of New York. Tell us a little bit about her.
Amazing. I remember covering her in 7th grade, and she was winning competitions back then against seniors, 17 and 18-year-old senior girl runners. And she was outstanding. In 10th grade, though, she competed at Bronxville in 10th grade. Then she left the varsity team, and she started looking towards the pros. She trained more, and I kind of questioned that because she left the high school environment, and then she turns pro before her senior year. So Mary was growing up very quickly. She started competing in these national tournaments in high school events, but they were national, and then she goes to Portland. And a lot of people that I know familiar with track and field in Section 1 in the New York area, they kind of wondered that because she didn't do the traditional college route. She didn't go and compete at a college. She went to college in Portland, but then she was at this Nike Oregon Project. So she was training and practicing with women that were 22, 23, 24-year-old professionals. So, you could see where she was growing up too quick. And to me, it seemed that way. And it's just unfortunate how it played out because she was outstanding. She was by far the best in her time in her high school years here in Westchester and in the country.
And Pete, what do you think this says about the future of, the sports industry with something like this, as groundbreaking as this coming out?
It definitely is, and things are going to change, and it's obviously for the good. It's definitely the good for the sport. The Hudson Valley has another great runner now, Caitlin Toohey from North Rockland. She's breaking Mary Cain's records. She's probably broken them all by now. But Caitlin Toohey is a junior at North Rockland. She's still competing on the high school level with the Red Raiders, and what I've been told is she's going to go to a college, and she's going to compete in college, and then we'll see what happens from there. Maybe she'll turn pro after that. I'm sure she will if she keeps up this pace. But she's on that route, and she's watched over by the schools, their coaches, and she's going to take one step at a time and not push that growth in the sport. As good as she is, and she's fantastic, that should help her down the road when it comes to maybe Olympics or professional competition.
All right, Pete, thank you for your insight tonight.
All right, guys.